Welcome back to another Purpose Served podcast episode. I believe that this is episode, I want to say 22. Um, for those of you that's with me still on this journey throughout these 22 episodes, I really appreciate y'all for making it this far with me. And I really do hope, and I say this a lot on these podcasts, that the information and the things that I'm talking about, it relates to you guys. And not only that, I hope that it helps you guys in in many different ways that you can apply these things that I'm saying. Now, on today's podcast episode, I was going to talk about my brothers and sisters and honestly how much they mean to me, and they're a whole, like, the percentage of how much they motivate me throughout the day is really, really close to 100%. I'm not going to sit here and say it is 100%, but it's definitely, in the 90-95 range. I got four brothers and two sisters, and every last one of them, they mean something totally different to me. But at the same time, they're all still like my brothers and sisters in a way where I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest out of all of us. And these is one of those things where it made me feel like, after I would want to say my brother Devin was born, that it started making me feel like a natural born leader, where in a way I started knowing around, like, I would want to say when he was born, I was like 11, 12 years old, that, I don't know, I started feeling a sense of, like, responsibility and I don't know, like a need to protect them, But to my brother Devonte, that's the one that's like right under me. So I'm only 18 months older than him, like a year and a half. But pretty much like through him, this like this started this started my journey of looking outside of myself in a way where I was being selfless first with my brother, and oftentimes when I was younger, being in different environments and different situations due to the fact that my mom working all the time and stuff like that, and my mom and dad separated at a young age, that pretty much my brother was like all I had, for a little bit. And it was it was in a way where I learned, honestly, companionship, and learned how to split things 50-50 with somebody genuinely, and not trying to hold out. And also, just going back to my childhood a little bit, like, my cousins, like, were in similar situations, you know. And shout out to my cousins Raheem and Talib, and also, all of my cousins under my auntie Keisha. I love every last one of y'all, But my cousins and Raheem and Talib, they were like the counterparts, like, of me and my brother Devonte. So when all four of us got around, it felt like I had, two extra brothers more than Devonte, and I know it was vice versa for them as well. But even with them, they had the same nature where they thought selfless as well. And if they had something, they're gonna split it up evenly amongst whoever they was with, and stuff like that. I learned from them as well. Like, I really did learn from them, And to this day, we consider each other, God honest truth, brothers more than cousins. Time grows people apart, but still, like, those bonds, it never goes away, no matter how much time, like, goes by, because that's still a strong, strong sense of brotherhood, which is, like, deeper to me than, the relationship of a cousin. Certain people out there, that they have brothers and sisters, and they even have cousins that they are not even close with, But I always say how lucky and blessed I am of these relationships, that I have. And my cousins and them, like, play a huge part in that. But also, like, with my brother Devonte, I learned a lot from him throughout the years. My brother, if you guys knew him, one day I'm gonna get him on this podcast. To be quite honest, I'm gonna get him on this podcast. But he is a open and honest person, blatantly open and honest. Sometimes that could backfire on him, but ultimately he's true to himself. And I wasn't true to myself for such a long time, and it's crazy. And that's learning that from my brother, and I learned that as of recent. I'll probably say it was like 6 or 7 years ago, where I started picking up on my brother's traits of him just being straightforward with the type of person, that he is and the beliefs that he stand on. And in a weird way, it made me feel like a coward that I wasn't even being like that. You know what I mean? Just sugarcoating stuff for people. And, like, for example, if you hear a song that your friend made and you know it's trash and you sitting there and you're going to go like this to him, like, yeah, that joint tough. I was that type of person. But through my brother, it was just like, nah, just be honest with him. Let him know that that joint trash. They're going to be all right. But yeah, and throughout life, the more I started applying that, weirdly enough, the more I started getting closer to my truth. And this is something that I never even told my brother. You know what I mean? This is something that I picked up from, being around him all the time and being observant of the type of person who he is. Because we can all learn from anybody, no matter how old someone is. Whether they're young, extremely old, or even your age, you can always learn something. And you either learn how to do something or how not to do something. It's going to fall between one of those lines. But it just depends on your perspective and how you looking at that situation, But these is one of those qualities that I learned from my brother, just being open and honest. And fast forward next to my brother Chris. Now, my brother Chris right now, he's turning 17 next month. So shout out to him, But for my brother Chris, he's very, very, very smart. He's very intelligent, and he's cunning. He's a charmer. And from him, he's the type of person that can pretty much get good at anything, once he learns it. And he's a very, very quick learner. And through that makes me honestly apply myself with different things that, that I'm trying to learn for the first time. That these are things that I see him go through constantly, and he keeps applying himself. It's also kind of weird to honestly watch my brothers and sisters like grow up. My brother turns 17 next month, and I'm just looking, and I'm just like, dag, like when you were born, I was 10 years old, and now I'm looking at him at 17 years old, and he's practically, a young adult right now. It's partially scary to think about, time. And this is conversations that I have with my brothers and sisters like quite often on how people go about guiding other people. And I'm about to explain this right now for you guys to like understand what I'm saying. When you're getting the rules of the world from your parents, they're trying to figure out this world as well, while helping you, trying to guide you through it. But as a kid, you're looking at your parents as if they know all the answers in the world. You know what I mean? That's, you rely on them so heavily. But they literally at one given point when you were a kid was in that same situation that you was in, So, for example, a couple years back, I would have like talking to my sisters and everything, and they would be so upset that they don't have a cell phone, but my brother Devin does have a cell phone. And I would tell them all the time, just like, wait your time. Like, they're not being mean to you. It's not, you just have to wait. You're not old enough. And once that time comes, I'm guaranteeing that you're going to have your phone or whatever. And also, as a kid, and looking at their perspectives on life, it just seemed like life moves so much slower. You know, talking to a 9 year old waiting till they're able to turn 13, that's like literally to them, it's like looking at a wall watching paint dry. But the older that you get, it just seems like, 9 to 13, 4 years now just seems like, oh my God, the previous 4 years as an adult, you like those 4 years went by incredibly fast. And like I said, just looking at my brother Chris and also my brother Devin just turned 16 2 days ago on April 12th. So special shout out to my brother, special birthday shout outs to you, bro. But through my brother Devin, just to keep running down the list, that's somebody who willpower is crazy. He is similar to, pretty much me and my brother Devonte. We're both some risk takers, man. And nowadays, it's for the right reasons from my perspective. Like, my brother wasn't as crazy as I was, with just doing stupid shit all the time. But, like, we're all risk takers. And my brother Devin, he's a risk taker as well, but now it's more along the lines of him, betting on himself and, how successful he see himself being in the future, and also what he see himself doing to be successful. And from talking to him, that's like, I realized a lot about like literally every last one of my brothers and sisters is God honest truth, how incredibly smart that they really, really are. From Devonte all the way down to my baby brother Donovan. They're so smart. And sometimes talking to them, they may not realize it, but I take a step back and I just be like, this is crazy, the stuff that they be saying and how they think. And my brother Devin, like I said, he has a good trait early. And I feel as though the trait that I'm talking about is being able to take risk. A lot of people are so scared to do things because they don't know how it's going to turn out, or they're scared to fail, or this or that, instead of just going out and doing it. You have to live this life. Don't sit around and wait. Don't sit around and ponder things. Don't just be involved in this experience, And that's what I see in my brother in such a young age. He's a go getter, and he's 16, but he didn't start off like that. He had a little rocky road to start off with, but don't we all do? But I see the type of person that he's turned into, and I look at the determination in his eyes, and I just be like, dag, man, like this kid really wants it. And going on to my sister, Danaysia, I call her Big Sis because she's the bigger sister of my little sister, so I call her Big Sis. But what a that's another one. She's very, very, very intelligent. And the one thing that I learned from her is being overly protective and overly caring for the people that she has around her, and she just turned 14 this year. But that's another one where time passed pretty quickly. I never expected, until she was born, to have like a sister. I thought it was gonna be like an all brothers kind of vibe. And once I had a sister, it kind of changed everything for me in a way where I really developed that, I guess, like that overprotective mindset, And I love my sisters to death, man. Like, seriously. And those two, man, collectively, like I said, those are some great minds at work. Like, talking to them about what they want to do when they get older and what they're interested in right now, like, it always amazes me. And nowadays, to be quite honest with you guys, I don't get a chance to, like, talk to my brothers and sisters, like, every day. And I do think about that sometimes, and it messes with me, man, because certain things that I know throughout the day that I must get done and certain things gonna have to give. And certain times I'll be feeling like, am I like giving up the right thing? You know? And does this matter more than this? Like, putting like practicing for basketball, over a time where I have a little window to talk to them, like any of my brothers and sisters. And to me, that eats away at me sometimes. But at the end of the day, I know that I need to do what I gotta do in order to, you know, help them out in any way, shape, or form. And it's tough. But I talk about the art of sacrifice all the time. You know what I mean? But I only make these decisions on having faith that at the end of the day, once I'm able to, provide them with anything that they want or need, that I can be able to do it through the sacrifices that I make. So that's what honestly keeps me going. But back to Big Sis, back to Danaysia. When she get older, she wants to be a veterinarian or a marine biologist, and she wants to care for animals. And having that figured out at the age that she is now, it's incredible, and how much, they are invested in their futures. It's it's a beautiful thing. And I wasn't I wasn't thinking about being a marine biologist or anything when I was her age. Basketball was the motive for me when I was that age, and thinking big in regards to that. And I just like talking to them and picking their brain about why they want to do stuff like that and what encourages them to do things like that. And also, I try in a way to talk to them where I don't try to, I guess, force them to be something that I ideally see them being. I kind of just like to hear what they want to do and offer my advice to try to help them get there or closer there while they at that age that they're at now. And they're still sponges and absorbing information and taking in the world like around them. And they pretty much, it's only so much I can tell them. A lot of stuff that they just already know, And Danaysia, she manages. She's like a little mom. Like she's responsible. She makes sure she knows what's going on, and she makes sure everybody's doing what they gotta do. She can be a little overbearing with it sometimes, but that's just her caring nature, And it's better that she be that way than not care absolutely at all and be on the opposite end of that spectrum. I take that, any day of the week, because that just goes to show how big her heart actually is, you know. And going on to little sis Deyonna, this is another one that's extremely smart. I like talking to her about the things that she wants to do in the future. Like her thing is she wants to be an author. She wants to write books. She wants to write stories. And now, she's telling me about the different stories that she's working on, and even like some app I can't remember right now off the top of my head that she has where she can upload some of her writings and stuff like that where other people can see it. And I'm like, dag, at the age of 11 and you're already, doing these things pertaining around the thing that you are like focusing on and trying to do. To me, it's like it's incredible. And I also talk to them knowing that this is the future. They're younger, but this is the next generation that's going to be our next presidents, our next athletes, our next everything. So it's important at this age now to mold them, but also hear their concerns and what they like to do and what they love to do, and navigate them like through that. Like honestly, like with all families, it's like bumpy roads and stuff like that. But like I talk on this podcast. I said a couple episodes back where I was blessed to have my dad and have two mothers. which is my biological mother and my stepmother Vanessa, both who I love like to the death of me, you know, and they are a huge reason on why my brothers and sisters are the type of people that they are now, even why I'm the person that I am now. And honestly, this is another thing where I say that I'm truly grateful and I'm truly blessed, you know, because with these things that's around that I just talked about, like my brothers and sisters, they are a huge motivation factor for me every single day to get up and go and get it and not sit around and not wait. You know, because I know in the regards that they see me in, they hold me to a high standard, you know, and also vice versa. I hold them to a really high standard. And now it's at the point where honestly we just pretty much talk about their dreams and aspirations and what they can practically do to take steps to get there now, you know, and that's what I kind of like talk to them about. I try to talk to my brothers and sisters to get them to have a action oriented mindset instead of just like staying in imagination land all day, you know, because at some point you just got to put those ideas to the test. And it's funny how, you know, how kids make things super simple and how adults make things extremely complicated. It's kind of backwards. Um, but through watching them, like I said, I learned a lot about myself, and through them in my head mentally, it's one of those things where I told myself probably a couple years ago that I was born to be a leader. I was destined to be a leader, you know, and through my brothers and sisters, that honestly gave me that feeling and that knowing and being the oldest. And a lot of things that I was doing in the past um to always feel good because I was feeling bad, you know, when the fun, you know, is over and the curtains close behind closed doors, man, you feel kind of crazy. And it's like those feelings that you just tried to escape from with doing whatever the hell you was doing, they come back, and a lot of times it's intensified because you didn't do anything about it. You just blocked it out temporarily, and honestly, it's just waiting to see your face again. And through my brothers and sisters, in those moments when, you know, the curtains closed, those they were the ones I thought about, and it made me start feeling like, yo, I gotta really buckle down and I gotta get my act together because they hold me to a certain regard, and I'll be damned if I didn't hold myself to that regard as well. And that's honestly what started making me start changing. And it was extremely hard, and it took a lot of willpower because nobody was blatantly telling me to do these things and go on this path. And also, I've like what I'm trying to do and what I'm doing, nobody has done before. And when you're walking down that road, it's extremely narrow, and sometimes it's easy to waver. But when you have a support system and a motivation like that in place, it don't make it, you know, that hard at all. But this is something on this podcast that honestly that I've been meaning to talk about was for such a long time, you know, because that's how important they are to me. You know, they really motivate me. And I tell all of them all the time, and they notice, they'll say this, you know, verbatim, but I want every last one of them to be better than me. And that's why I give them the tools and the informations that I obtain and I apply for myself, and the things that I've done that help me out. I try to give them all of that because at the end of the day, I want them in any way, shape, or form to surpass me, because I believe that's what it should be about. It's about paying it forward. You know what I mean? And I know with that being said, if that happens, then I did my part. But last but not least, Donovan, my baby brother. Now, he was born the summer I graduated high school. And for that one, it was he sealed the deal, man. My baby brother Donovan, man, like he's extremely smart as well, man. He's really into them games, man. He's really into them games, but I can say as a Wingfield, to my brothers that's watching this, we all was really into them games, man, around that age. Parents go to sleep. It's like, man, turn that PlayStation 2 on real quick and just turn the TV. Just turn the TV all the way down. We're going to stay up for a little bit. It don't matter if we got school in a couple hours. Let's just get it done. But he's extremely, extremely, extremely smart. And like I said, some of the things that, I talk about with him is very thought-provoking because kids think through a different lens. And they think through a lens of possibility instead of thinking that, it's impossible to do something. They don't really know that, especially at that age. Like now he's about 7 years old, but to them, their imaginations are everything, and that's like, to me, one of the most important, crucial steps of a kid's life is understanding that the power that they hold with the things that they think about, that is possible in some way, shape, or form to make it real. And as they get older, us adults suppress that. And they end up conforming and be something that they don't want to be and end up living a life that they didn't want to live when they was once that 7-year-old, that loved video games and wanted to go on the moon. But then, how time go. But this is what this podcast is about, is letting people know that, you still have that kid inside of you. You still got that dream. You still got that inspiration. As long as you're living, you still have that. So don't get that up. And don't give it up for nobody. Because it's truly not worth it. It's not. It's yours for a reason. You have to protect it. You have to go after it. Because it's yours. Our ideas and the person that we're trying to be and our dreams and aspirations is trying to speak through us, but we have to be ready to listen. And on that note, I'm going to end this podcast here. Listen, please show your support. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Download the podcast on Spotify. And check out the website. Like I said, I'm doing this for y'all. I noticed that there's a couple of faithful listeners, every single episode. And if you're one of those people that listen to these episodes as soon as they come out, I am not that hard of a person to get in contact with. Just get in contact with me. I would love to know why you listen to the podcast. What would you like to hear on the podcast? Just let me know. I'm not that hard of a person to reach out to, and I would love to start, talking to you guys and engaging with you guys. But yet again, like I said, download the podcast, leave a comment on the YouTube videos, and I love you guys and serve your purpose. Peace out. I'm out.